Guys, no, what happened? I was so excited for this week, and they ruined it. So, Dragon Ball Super, episode 66. I haven't been so let down in a genuinely long time. And I'm gonna get into it ever so slowly, but let's just get into what we know right now. So, last two episodes, Zamasu and Goku Black fused, they became merged Zamasu, and now Goku and Vegeta are trying to fight them, yada yada yada. So this episode essentially starts off with Goku, again ending off from the last episode, Goku still firing that Kamehameha against merged Zamasu's destruction ball, Battle of Gods looking thing. Goku manages to break through, which a lot of people are calling BS on this, and I can kind of see why. This is kind of causing a very big power scale issue. Because last episode, the same energy attack, it took Vegeta and Trunks at max power to overcome. And this is the same one, maybe even stronger, and Goku solos it by himself. Not even using the Kaio-ken, he just goes full power, and he does this giant, like, he bursts the energy full, and it's just it is, what ends up happening is it ends up going through his energy ball and attacking him, which causes his face to split in half, right? Or, well, his face to, like, do like a two-face thing, and now half of his face is purple and half of it is regular. And honestly, right here, we get probably the most badass moment in this episode, in my opinion. Because we have Vegito and all that later on, which is also badass. But in my opinion, this is the coolest thing this episode. Goku charges back up at Merged Zamasu, who currently has half of his face, like, mutated. And Goku charges up, does this amazingly, awesomely choreographed fury of kicks. It's the coolest thing. Kicks him away. Because apparently something's wrong with his arm. Charges back down at him. Merged Zamasu grabs his leg and starts like squeezing it and like hurting him or whatever. Goku goes Kaio-ken and does this freaking badass as hell flip around and kicks him to the side of his face that's, currently mutated, and knocks him down to the ground. It's badass, right? And this causes his light ring or whatever that was around him to shatter. And now this pisses off Merged Zamasu. Another really cool scene is Goku's down on the ground, and everyone's like, "Oh, Goku, are you okay?" And then in the distance, all you hear is Zamasu, at the most probably pissed off we've ever seen him, just yell at the top of his lungs, "Son Goku!" Super pissed off, screaming at the top of his lungs, and then we see his arm, start to, mutate too. It's really cool imagery, right? And then we get the moment of truth. Goku decides, hey, the only way we're going to be able to beat this guy is Vegeta. We need to fuse. And Vegeta, of course, is like, no, Kakarot, that's dumb. I never want to fuse with you ever again. I hated it the first time. Goku ends up talking him into it. But here we get some very crucial information before they fuse. So, Goku talks to Gowasu. He says, "Say, last time when we fused, they said we wouldn't be able to part again. However, we did. Why is that?" Gowasu says, "The fusion effects on those who aren't Supreme Kai only last for an hour. So if you aren't a Supreme Kai, and you use the Potara earrings, your fusion only lasts for an hour." Is this a plot hole? No. because Goku or Vegito and Boo's fight in the Boo Saga, it didn't last an hour, you know, or it definitely didn't go over an hour, you know, but it does kind of draw up a lot more questions, because Vegito, when he got absorbed by Boo, like the whole like thing, like it like Vegito wanted that to happen. Like that was part of Vegito's plan, was like, I want to be absorbed. That's why he created the energy barrier around him, right? So he could go inside of Boo and rescue everyone. And then they split. So we all thought, oh, maybe it was like the magic inside of Boo's body, or maybe it was something else, you know, in play inside of Boo's body. It was a huge debate for years. But apparently, according to this, the reason why they defused was because their hour time limit ran up. This just kind of causes a little bit of, not a problem, but a little bit of a... Because Vegito was so confident, like, that this was my plan. If Boo didn't try to absorb him right then and there, Vegito would have defused, and Goku and Vegeta would have been screwed. They would have been legitimately screwed, right? I don't know. It's confusing, and this draws up another question that no one else seems to be addressing. I seem to be the only one who's actually brought this up. This kind of makes the fusion dance a useless technique, because the reason why the fusion dance existed was because it was a way to do fusion without it being permanent, right? It was a way for you to fuse your power together to become stronger, but it wasn't permanent, right? While Vegito, on the other hand, before Dragon Ball Super was presumed, yes, it was permanent, but it was also a much stronger fusion. Vegito, for the longest time, was confirmed to be the stronger between Vegito and Gogeta. Vegito's the stronger one. The Potara earrings cause for a stronger fusion, right? But now that fusion with the Potara earrings only lasts for an hour, there's no point whatsoever for you to use the fusion dance anymore. None. Because why, at that point, would you do the fusion dance that only lasts 30 minutes and you're weaker than if you were to do the earrings and have it last for an hour and you're stronger? You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't really make sense to me. You know, it kind of feels like they just kind of wrote themselves into a corner here. Anyways, episode continues on. Vegito is born. We get the badass Yosha. You know, him when he first appeared back in the Buu Saga. That was the first words he said when he put his arms in position. He goes Yosha. You know, against Super Buu. The minute he came back, first words. And I love this too, because Vegito charges up into Super Saiyan Blue and he goes, "Now meet Vegito Blue!" And it's so cool. It's so cool because, again, no one else has really been making this comparison. When Vegito turned into Super Saiyan 2, he calls himself Super Vegito, right? That was his name for himself. It was Super Vegito. Now I love how they've got a new form, so the minute Vegito turns into that new form, he comes up with a new name for himself. When it was Super Saiyan 2, he was, "I am Super Vegito." You know, now he's, "I am Vegito Blue." You know, it's so cool. It's really cool that they do these subtle nods back to the original. But when I saw this for the first time live, I was hyped as hell, dude. Hyped as absolute hell. Zamasu fires that same energy ball that Goku was trying to hold back with the Kamehameha. Vegito blocks it with a single hand. And just obliterates it right there. Just completely obliterates the whole thing. Like, he's not even trying. Right? And then he's like, "Now let's finish this." And then we get Zamasu doing his regular talk about, mortals always trying to imitate gods, saying how basically Goku and Vegeta copied his idea to fuse. And we get a really cool, because when villains monologue in Dragon Ball, they always get to finish their monologue. But this is why I love Vegito as a character, because he's trying to finish his monologue and he just straight up punches him in the face and kicks him away and says, "All right, come on, let's get let's get this going." And then we get a absolutely beautifully animated fight scene. This fight scene right here is done like this next like 30 to 40 seconds, almost like a minute. Like this is like almost twice as long, if not even 3 times as long as the one he did in 57. This whole scene right here is animated by Naotoshi Shida, my favorite animator at Toei Animation. So basically, Vegito goes up for a right hook. Vegito blocks. Then they go crashing through the entire city. Vegito comes racing around, and then they clash into a barrage of absolute punches. He kicks him to the face. Zamasu tries to throw a right hook, and then he ends up trying to throw another right hook into a whole bunch of buildings. Vegito goes in for a kick. He blocks it. He goes in for another kick. He also blocks it. Goes in for a kick. Hits him in the back of the head, and then grabs him with his hand, bringing him all the way down to the ground. His face is currently on his face, or his hand is currently on his face, and it's like, what's wrong? Is that all the power a god has? And we get a really cool scene right here. This is so freaking BA, because he's like, don't be pretentious, and he charges up, explodes this awesome power, and then he goes in for a punch, and Vegito also goes in for a punch, and you know, everything's exploding around them. It goes in for this awesome zoom-in shot, right? Now Toshishida is once again showing that he is king. And then Zamasu goes in for a punch to the gut and then uppercuts him. And then he takes out his psionic blade that we've all seen from before, and Vegito counters it with his own energy beam that we saw from the Buu arc and hits him through the chest. Iconic. Absolutely iconic, right? See, as of right now, I'm totally okay with the episode. Like, the whole Potara earring fusion not being permanent, you know, it's not 100% ideal for me. But you know what? I can get over it. I can get over it because there's so much in this episode that's amazing. And I can get over it. I can live with it, right? Doesn't really create any plot holes. It raises a few questions, doesn't really create any plot holes, so I'm okay with it, right? But then we keep going on. Zamasu continues to do more of his monologue, and then he grows huge. He grows like giant. But one thing I've noticed everyone is kind of comparing this to, everyone's kind of saying, oh, this reminds me of Goku vs. Piccolo. This doesn't really remind me of Goku vs. Piccolo. I mean, I can see what they're saying, but the first thing I thought of when I saw this episode was Super Saiyan 2 Gohan vs. Cell. When Cell got uber pissed off, and Cell gets all super buff, and he tries to go at Gohan, and, you know, when he was all super buff, and Gohan's easily just dodging all of his attacks. That's what this reminded me of. But then Vegito ends up charging up, and we get a scene of Gawasu talking about how, basically, his outer appearance right now is a reflection of his inner struggle, because, you know, he's always talking about how humans are you know, horrible, and I can't believe, you know, we have to protect these people, and blah, 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 blah. But he's basically showing that since Goku, the half of him that's human and not immortal, is the one that's bringing him down, that's causing him to be all mutated like that, it's very symbolic. Anyway, so Bulma and Mai end up bringing Trunks his broken sword, and here's where some of the I mean, this isn't bad. This isn't really bad right here. This is kind of cool, actually. Trunks takes his broken sword, and then he starts charging up, and basically he ends up creating, like, he has energy come out of the tip of his sword. So he basically turns his sword to like an energy blade. And then, okay, we get more of Vegito versus Zamasu. We get the final Kamehameha making its first appearance in the anime. It was always a game-only technique until now. So it made its first ever appearance. Vegeta, the instant transmission, appears above him, goes in for a right hook to the face, and they defuse. Here's another problem that I have. Another really big problem that I have. This is one that also kind of breaks the episode. They defuse. Gawasu, the Supreme Kai from Universe 7 says, what? It hasn't even been an hour yet. Gawasu says they've used up the power to sustain the fusion. Let me get this straight. So, the fusion only lasts an hour. Okay, that's fine. I'm totally okay with that. Remember, I just established, no doesn't cause a plot hole. I'm okay with this. But Super Saiyan Blue is too powerful for the fusion to sustain for an hour. Here, I don't understand. I don't understand this, because Toei, will you please make up your damn mind? First, you say Super Saiyan Blue is calm. It's more tranquil than a regular Super Saiyan. So much so to the point where Goku is now able to use his Kaio-ken technique over it without any problem. He couldn't do that with regular Super Saiyan. It would cause too much of a strain, right? So, Super Saiyan Blue is this super cool, super calm form. How is it that Vegito couldn't last an hour in Super Saiyan Blue, but he was able to last an hour in Super Saiyan 2, a form that hadn't even been completely mastered yet by neither Goku or Vegeta, and yet Vegeta was able to last more than an hour in that form? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, maybe if you look at it like Super Saiyan Blue, while it might be more tranquil and calm, maybe it really does just have a higher power output, but it's still not well explained, and this still is just a hole for me. Like, it's just like Super Saiyan Blue is something that is supposed to be so calm and cause so much less strain on the body. It's supposed to cause, like, literally almost no strain on your body. That's how Goku's able to use the Kaio-ken on top of it. So if we have a form that causes no physical strain on the body, how is it that Vegito can't last an hour? You know what I'm saying? Let's continue on. So they defuse, Vegito gets pissed, throws one punch and hits both of them, and then here we go, right here, tries to slice them in half with his psionic blade. Trunks comes in, blocks it with his sword, his newly formed energy key sword, right? And Zamasu gets really pissed off. They have an actually pretty badass sword fight, and Trunks leaps away, fires a whole bunch of ki blasts, jumps over him, slices him with the sword, slices him again with the sword, has an X on his chest, right? And, it's badass at first. It really is. Zamasu punches him away. We get a really cool scene of Zamasu almost killing him by slicing a sword down on him, but he blocks it with his sword. And then we get the most bullshit freaking thing I've ever seen. Ever. Trunks is literally able to form a Spirit Bomb. A Genki Dama. With the, 9 people that are left on Earth right now that are currently over there in the battlefield. How many of... Yeah, there's maybe 20 people max. Maybe. Right? He ends up basically taking all of that energy, forming it above him, and he kind of sucks it into him, kind of like in movie 7, the Android 13 movie where Goku sucks in the energy from the Spirit Bomb. That's kind of what happens. Kind of. But he kind of puts it into his sword, And he ends up going and he stabs Zamasu right in the chest. And what is a very badass scene, but still to me is like, come on, this doesn't make any sense. He pulls up from the sword that he just stabbed him in and cuts him entirely in half, and that is where the episode is the cliffhanger. Guys, I haven't been so disappointed by Dragon Ball Super in a while. It's been a genuine long time. I'm so disappointed. Vegito was pointless. Goku using the Kaio-ken was pointless. Because, I mean, honestly, once he blasted through and it hit Zamasu, that could have been the point where he was down on the ground and the ring disappeared. You didn't need Goku to use the Kaio-ken. You know, that was just added fan service. I don't know. I don't like how Trunks continues to get these power-ups that come out of nowhere. Honestly, in my opinion, there was no point for Trunks to almost even come back and get Goku's help. There was almost no point, right? Because Trunks did all of this himself. That new form he got, himself. He got it out of rage. Could have easily happened without the help of Goku or Vegeta, you know? This Spirit Energy Sword didn't need the help of Goku or Vegeta. He did this all himself. At least in the Cell arc, Trunks did come back and save his own future, but it was only after the things that he learned from Goku. And it was only after all the training he did with his father in the hyperbolic time chamber that he was able to get strong enough to defeat the androids in his time. This, yeah, Vegeta trained him for a little bit, but it couldn't have been long enough. It was like maybe a day, maybe a few days max, you know? This wasn't like when they went to go train in the hyperbolic time chamber and they were in there for a year, you know? They were training for maybe a few days. He couldn't have gotten that strong. I don't know why they insist on... Because when I was a kid, Trunks was cool. Trunks was a cool character, right? But you want to know why he was cool? Because I made that decision myself. The show didn't tell me, hey little kid, Trunks, this character you're watching on the screen right now, he's cool, you know? I thought Trunks was cool because I made that decision on myself, you know? He didn't do anything that was too terribly OP, right? And I liked the fact that he was cool because he has that, he doesn't have that line of wanting someone to grow, you know, too immensely strong. He just wants it to end right there. But Trunks, again, in the Cell arc, was never overpowered. You know, he was always getting his butt handed to him. Here, it's ridiculous. He's always got some sort of power coming from nowhere. And he's always got to have a badass moment. To the point where Toei's like, hey, look, guys, he's cool. You gotta like him now. He's a cool character. It's like, no, Toei. I don't want you to tell me that he's cool. I want to tell myself that he's cool. I don't know. This whole episode just kind of... It was badass. It was incredibly stupid. I don't know. Maybe I should sleep on it, I guess. I don't know. Anyways, what did you guys think about the episode? Sound off down below. And I guess I'll catch you guys later. Bye.